Graduands, guests, colleagues, I declare this ceremony open. Please be seated. As Vice-Chancellor, I welcome you to this morning's graduation ceremony for students from Nottingham Business School, and welcome also to our honorary graduand, Richard Bullock, OBE. We take great care in offering these invitations and are delighted when people of such distinction agree to join our community. I know, Richard, you'll be an inspiration to our students, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts a little later in these proceedings. Now, I know Richard's going to be an inspiration because I used to work for him, and one day we were having a conversation about an individual with whom I was about to have something of a dispute, and Richard gave me a piece of advice that stuck with me ever since. He said, "Edward, never wrestle a pig. You'll both get muddy, and the pig might enjoy it." Today's event is being live streamed, so a warm welcome to family and friends who join us from around the world. These ceremonies are a highlight of our academic year. They're a time when we celebrate and share in the success of all of our students. I'd like to congratulate you personally on your academic achievements. However, no one makes this academic journey, undergraduate or postgraduate, on their own. I ask you, therefore, to pause for a second and remember those who've supported you along your way, your families, your friends, your tutors. Graduands, please join me in a round of applause for all those people sitting below you who've helped you on that journey. So graduation ceremony is also a chance to celebrate some of the recent successes of the university. And the awards and accolades we're receiving reflect our continued excellence in learning and teaching and our commitment to transforming the lives of over 32,000 students who now study with us every year. As you continue to grow and accept new challenges, so will we. Our commitment to excellence evolves with the changing needs of our students. And I'm proud to say that we've recently been named as the 2019 University of the Year by The Guardian, the latest title in an unprecedented period of success for the university. This means that for a third successive year, we've been recognised by one of the UK's true authorities in higher education. In 2018, we were named Modern University of the Year by The Times and the Sunday Times Good University Guide. And the year before that, we received the Times Higher Education University of the Year award. To continue receiving these kind of accolades is an endorsement of what we are doing, and it sets a high bar for our future. That's a challenge we're excited about and one we'll be meeting head on. These awards celebrate our gold standard teaching, our worldwide engagement with employers and partners, and our expertise in delivering a personalised learning experience that changes lives. Through this recognition and the promise of what is still to come, we can say with confidence today that Nottingham Trent is one of the UK's outstanding universities. Now, I know that we've worked with each of you and our brilliant Students' Union, so that every one of you graduating today has been able to do your best. That's our purpose. It's why we're here. It's what we want for all of you. Do your best, achieve your best, and be your best. Of course, this journey is not just about your academic studies. We hope we've supported you in developing resilience, knowledge, and life skills that will sustain you in your next steps. We hope we've challenged you. We hope you all feel that you're better prepared to meet the challenges that will come your way. Those challenges, personally and professionally, that are inevitable for all of us. The success of this university is built on achievements across every area of activity. And of course, this includes the exceptional education provided by each of our schools. I would now like to share with you a few highlights that reflect this within your own school. With over 6,000 students, Nottingham Business School is one of the largest business schools in the UK. Accredited by the gold mark standard of quality around the world, EQUIS, as well as AACSB, NBS is also listed as a top 100 European business school in the FT rankings. And recent Guardian League tables was 8th for accounting and finance, 13th for economics, and 18th for business. your business school is an international leader in experiential and personalised learning. Every year brings new innovations. For example, Nottingham Business School has achieved an international reputation for delivering education that integrates responsible and sustainable business into all of its work. As an aside, there's a new league table out today for universities. You can't have too many. And this is the People and Planet Green League, which rates universities for their green credentials, how sustainable they are. 151 universities submit data to this league table, and this year we're third in the UK as a sustainable institution. We're immensely proud of that, and immensely proud of the contribution the business school makes to that rating, so thank you, colleagues. NBS is held up by the United Nations Charter of Principles of Responsible Management Education as an exemplar, and is one of the 11 business schools in Europe who are PRME champions. But the one thing that all NBS colleagues are most proud of is the quality and achievement of its graduates, and soon you will be one of them. I now invite Associate Dean of NBS, Melanie Curry, to read the names of today's graduands, and the Chancellor will admit you to your degrees. Thank you.
I now invite the stewards to bring forward the first group of graduands. Chancellor, the following have qualified for awards from Nottingham Business School. Bachelor of Arts degree with honours in Accounting and Finance, Thomas Adams. Avis Ahmed. The next student is also the winner of the Romax Prize for the Best Performance in Advanced Management Accounting, Nikesh Ali. Nawal Al-Kawari. Thomas Bailey. Jaden Broughton. Hoi Yi Chung. Caroline Crabb. Angelika Svikalowska. Luke Doran. Sabrina Frappolo. Yumna Gorai. Alexander Ham. Simran Hundal. The next student also receives the John Sloper Memorial Award, Ajaz Iqbal. Ramanjot Kira. Rodri Meads. Kajul Madwadia. Joshua Milan. Grace Parry. Varuna Patel. Anisha Rana. Unkaniso Sabanda. Benjamin Sizer. Sarah Smith. Ashwell Terrick. Akshay Vig. Mira Vulpoyo. Ying Wang. Maria Zaman. Matthew Bedford. The next student also wins the McEldowie Prize for the best overall performance in corporate reporting. Sophie Bell. Mia Ben Tovim. Daniel Bracken. Amelia Breers. The next student also wins the Nottingham Business School Prize for Best Performance in Further Taxation. Francis Coombe. The next student wins the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales Prize for Best Overall Performance in Corporate Finance by a final year student. Luke Donnelly. Emmanuel Dosamu. Theo Harry Elines. Daniel Fisher. Amal Gohill. Peter Gray. Alexander Hobbs. Gabrielle Hocking. Hasnain Iqbal. Emily Karolowski. Tariro Katamari. Brian Luffman. Lonchanti Makidi. Martin Reed. The next student also receives the Paige Kirk Award for Best Overall Performance by an Accounting and Finance final year student, Hannah Smith. Madalena Stotcher. Ikra Tasdiq. Jake Taylor. Jan Thomas. Diploma of Higher Education in Accounting and Finance, Wan Chin. Bachelor of Arts degree with honours in Business Management and Accounting and Finance, Kulraj Banway. Carlin Bell. Simran Chahal. Panasha Chitsaka. Thomas Clay. James Cooper. Nicholas Cooper. Rory Costello. Lauren Crumpton. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of awards to the first group of students from the Nottingham Business School. I am pleased to invite Eunice Simmons to the stage to give the oration for our honorary graduate, Richard Bullock, OBE, and to present him to the Chancellor to receive his award.
Chancellor, guests, it is my privilege to invite Richard Bullock to come forward to receive an honorary doctorate at this morning's ceremony. It's a particular pleasure to welcome Richard's daughter Fiona and husband Richard to share this ceremony with us. Now, Richard was born in Hucknall, Nottingham, into a family where father, grandfather, and 7 uncles were coal miners. Originally, his family came from Staffordshire, but his grandfather heard of work in Hucknall and, having come over and seen it for himself, went back to their home in Norton Keynes with a horse and cart and collected the family. So mining was in the blood. His father, 2 grandfathers, and 7 uncles were all involved. It's an industry with a proud tradition, but Richard said that his father was determined his son would not follow him down the pit, even though at that time it was providing work for more than 60% of the male population of Hucknall. With his Salvation Army background, Richard's father was a strong influence, but actually, Richard did defy this and go down the pit, but perhaps in a very different role than was expected. After taking O-levels at age 14 at the Henry Mellish School in Bulwell, Richard went on to take his A-levels at 16, as to stay on at school any later was too expensive for the family. Despite this, he and his siblings all went on to university, his sister to Cardiff and he and his brother to Oxford. So he graduated from Oxford in medieval history on a Friday and went down Bestwood Pit on the following Tuesday. But this was to start his career as a management trainee with the Coal Board. He was then sent on an underground training course to Hucknall No. 1, the famous top pit, and worked his way around all the different jobs so that he could be categorised as a fully efficient underground worker. He then had to work his way around all the above-ground services, including marketing and working for the board, before going further afield to work on a scheme where pits were actually closing in Durham, Scotland and Northumberland. Richard, as an industrial relations officer by then, was part of the communication team. And pre-internet, the messages had to be shared in person. So he learnt how to drive a double-decker bus to take a mobile exhibition round the coalfields of the north. And Richard soon got involved in Coal Products Limited, which dealt with the more than 400 products which can be produced from coal. Now this furthered his interest in the commercial world, and after 4 years, he left the coal industry, determined to follow either accountancy or law. Law won out, and so in September 1968, he found himself joining NTU's precursor, Nottinghamshire Regional College of Technology, as a law student. He then went on to take his articles with Hunt, Dickins and Willerton in Thurland Street for the princely sum of £7 a week. He took 2 years to qualify, then stayed on as a partner. And the name of this firm has changed many times, but Richard has been a constant. Freeths, as it is now known, grew from that original firm of 26 to a company of over 900 people. And Richard finally retired as head of legal practice some 2 years ago and remains on as a consultant. But during his long career, Richard always found time to look beyond the office and give something back to the community. He was a councillor by the age of 30, and indeed his interest in matters medieval never diminished. For some 35 years, he ran the Sheriff's Office for Nottinghamshire, but also for 15 years for Derbyshire. And he tells me this was a throwback to the mid-16th century when it was common to share sheriffs. I was under the impression that this was all ceremonial and good dinners, but Richard put me straight and told me about all the tricky High Court writs and orders enforced through the Sheriff's Office. This even extended to seizing and selling goods and taking back possession of land, which mustn't have made him the most popular public servant. But he served as Secretary of the High Sheriffs Association from 1986 to 1995 and was President of the Under Sheriffs Association for 4 years. And he's also been a Deputy Lieutenant for Nottinghamshire since 1993. And his connection to NTU has strengthened over time. Richard was a member of the Board of Governors of NTU for 14 years, including 6 as chair. At a national level, he was a board member of the University and Colleges Employers Association. And in 2013, he was honoured by Her Majesty the Queen and received an OBE in recognition of public service in the East Midlands region. And an interesting lesson for today's graduates is that Richard seems to have managed to keep many strands of his earlier life alive, even with such a busy career. He was chair of the Nottinghamshire Advisory Board of the Salvation Army and admits to still on occasions playing in pop-up brass bands in the area, so look out for him. And as he was nudging towards retirement, Richard decided to go back to his first interest and pursue a PhD entitled Sheriffs, Changing Roles in the East Midlands 1580 to 1640. This covers late Elizabethan period to the Stuarts, leading up to the Civil War. Richard found plenty of source material in this locality. I'm not sure that he was found to be regularly enjoying the ocean nightlife, but we were delighted that Richard, when he came back, became something of a model student. He was often to be found in Clifton Boots or Brackenhurst libraries, which he enjoyed thoroughly once he learned the discipline of not distracting himself by going off for endless cups of tea. So, from all your NTU colleagues, many congratulations on the successful completion of your own PhD, Richard, which actually will be awarded at a ceremony next week. But for now, Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to present to you this person distinguished in eminence and by attainments for the conferment of the degree of Doctor of the University, honoris causa, in recognition of his significant contribution to Nottingham Trent University, the legal profession and the civic life of Nottinghamshire, Dr. Richard Bullock.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Deputy Vice-Chancellor, members of the university and distinguished guests, and probably uniquely for an honorary graduand, my fellow students sitting up there. First of all, I should express my deep felt thanks to the university for conferring this degree on me, and to Professor Simmons for her very kind and undeserved comments about the grounds of the grant. Kind and undeserved because it's been a joy and a pleasure to be involved in all the activities she described, and so the honorary degree is a reward for doing things which I would have wanted to do anyway, in any event, without the added bonus of this particular highly grounded honour. I say fellow students in my opening because, as the Deputy Vice-Chancellor set out, in another 8 days, I will be in your seats, waiting eagerly for the conferring of the PhD degree I have been researching for the last 4 years. The two differences between myself and most of the students is that between now and then, I'll be celebrating my 76th birthday. So at the forthcoming ceremony, I will probably be older than any 3 students put together. And secondly, because instead of being obliged to thank my parents and family for supporting me through the course of study, I will be thanking my daughters for looking on with what appears to be equanimity whilst I spend their inheritance pursuing my dream. They may have been happier if I had simply accepted this honorary degree and left it at that, but it's too late now. The unifying factor between me and my fellow students is that we are all part of the NTU community. I'm proud that last September marked the 50th anniversary of my presenting myself in the foyer of the Newton building to begin the conversion course for me to become a lawyer, before being led round to the York House building on Mansfield Road, where the lectures and seminars were to take place. I was told at that time that York House was temporary accommodation, and so I was pleased nearly 40 years later, as chairman of the board, to confirm the closure of the building, which is no doubt a lesson in the philosophical concept of the slow passage of time. Who needs Proust when you've got local examples like that? To my fellow students, I would say the joy of graduation is not a single passing event, but is a milestone on a long and interesting road. Lifelong learning is not a vacuous phrase in our current society, where we all need to be constantly upgrading our talents and skills and experience, and the relevance of all three. This is why the chief and most important product of our time at NTU is not the certificate of graduation, wonderful though that is, but the restless curiosity we all feel as the result of the exploration of knowledge and techniques we have acquired at NTU. We need to be able to contribute to the advancement or amelioration of the worlds we're all entering, and particularly the youngsters up in the gallery, if they recognize that term. So I would encourage them to channel the abilities and knowledge they have developed here into whatever fields they choose to be part of. By all means, be inspired by people you admire or adopt as role models along the way, but do not aspire to be clones of them and simply replicate them and what they have achieved. Instead, seek to improve on your role models. As Sir Isaac Newton himself said, you will see further and more clearly and meaningfully because you stand on the shoulders of giants. you in turn have the ability and have developed knowledge, talents, and personal qualities at NTU to enable you to be the giants of the future, and so play your part in unleashing the talents of others. Sometimes you may think that your part in progress is insignificant and is equally capable of being performed by others. At those times, always remember that you bring to any situation or location your unique individual perspective, talent, and knowledge, as well as the confidence in those factors I have already mentioned, which you have developed at NTU. In any event, your part is vital. Remember the story of General Burgoyne, who, it is said, did not receive reserves for the Battle of Saratoga and consequently lost the battle because a messenger whose horse went lame for lack of a nail in the horseshoe was unable to deliver the appropriate message. You, my fellow students, may be the only one able to deliver that metaphorical nail, so do not dismiss it as only a nail. So I wish you well in developing and using for the rest of your lives in everything you are called upon to do, all that skill and knowledge you have acquired at NTU. I hope the mentors and memories you have found here will strengthen your resolve to contribute to and enrich the worlds of which you will be part, whether they are of careers, hobbies, interests, or the wider community. In particular, I hope the friendships you have made will serve you well through the whole of your evolving lives. I hope also that you will recall with warmth and affection your time at NTU. Or as Dolly Parton sang, and here I paraphrase, I'm not going to sing. I've forgotten to bring my 12-string guitar, otherwise I might serenade you. Whenever in the future NTU crosses your mind, please let it cross slowly. Please stop and reminisce with friends for a while. Please remember only good things and think of it as happiness whenever NTU crosses your mind. Finally, which means I'm coming to an end, you should always listen. If the vicar says lastly, he lasts a bit longer. If a curate says finally, he finishes. So I say finally. I reiterate my thanks to the Chancellor, to the Vice-Chancellor, to the Deputy Vice-Chancellor, and to the University for generously awarding the degree to me, and not simply because it has been a very welcome rehearsal for my degree ceremony next week. I'm sure, like all my fellow students, I'm grateful for the advantages we have acquired at NTU, and we are very much looking forward to all that the world and life holds for us from now on. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I now invite the stewards to bring forward the second group of graduands. Chancellor, the following have also qualified for awards from Nottingham Business School. Bachelor of Arts degree with honours in Business Management and Accounting and Finance, Conor Dargis. Antoine Durant. The The next student also wins the Bruin Dolphin Prize for Best Overall Performance by a full-time student on BA Business Management and Accounting and Finance. Laura Dyer. Bradley Eustace. Daniel Evans. Harry Finch. Harbour Hammond. Joshua Hicks. Chiamaka Ebianusai. Thomas Kane. Yasan Karufa. Jingshu Li. Ayashi Mabukwa. Jamie Matthews. Fotini Panayotou. Samuel Pearl. Kamal Rehman. Sukdev Rihal. Priscilla Rodriguez dos Santos Van Dunem. Adam Smakia. Nathan Sharp. Jian Ying Yang. Alina China. Fraser Aubrey. Jake Avis. Daniel Bailey. Cameron Barber. Brittany Bedford. George Brindley. Natalie Bristol. John Buckley. Samuel Catt. Daniel Chen. Lewis Copsey. Devon Cox. Kieran Crew. Thomas Elgram. The next next student wins the Nottingham Business School Prize for Best Overall Performance by a final year Sandwich student on the BA Business Management and Accounting and Finance, Aidan Funnell. Andrew Gant. Samuel Glover. Sophie Herbert. Bethany Hoyland. Joseph Jackson. Emma Jaggart. Olivia Johnston. Jordan Lee. Chloe Lithgow. Kino Maya. James Morris. Furai Muknari. Rebecca Munday. Aidan Newbury. Alexander Olszewski. Kiranpreet Pada. Gorinda Rai. Ellen Savory. Daniel Shapland. Sam Simpkins. Rebecca Smith. Harry Standley. Megan Swift. The next student also wins the next PLC prize for the most innovative research project, Victoria Tutok. Thomas Wingfield. Tyrell Iglesias Brown. Bachelor of Arts degree with honours in International Business Management, Shuhai Hang. Sijia Cheng. Chen Wu. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of awards from Nottingham Business School and concludes the presentation of awards to students at this ceremony. In absentia, Chancellor, I invite you to confer degrees on those students who have not been presented to you in person, but who have indicated that they wish their awards to be conferred in their absence. I certify that these students are worthy of their degrees, and I stand as proxy. Emmanuel Dusumu, who earlier received a Bachelor of Arts degree with honours in Accounting and Finance will now propose the student vote of thanks.
Dear Chancellor, Vice Chancellor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and fellow students. When Tom told me I was being considered amongst other students to do the vote of thanks because I've been course rep for both second and placement year, I felt honored and privileged to have been chosen. Although I'm sure to a select number of students, it was a relief that I decided to give another student the opportunity to be course rep in our final year. However, I am certain the main relief is finally finishing this chapter in our lives as undergraduates here at NTU. From constant late-night revision sessions at the library in order to meet deadlines, to making our 9 a.m. lectures, or unfortunately for some, 9 a.m. seminars, while still balancing our free time going on wild nights out, as we do, to spending time with friends and family, or simply having a lazy day to rest from what we all call stress, has most definitely paid off as we have all graduated today. Over these years, we have been taught and nurtured by the very best, and now have all it takes to take on the world by being agents for change and to be great ambassadors for the university. We have developed self-learning skills, confidence, and other employable skills to take on emerging and growing world challenges. I'll never forget the time when we first started. We were all strangers to one another, with most of us not producing that personal statement Tom requested. However, after a couple of icebreakers and financial statements, we became much closer friends, and we have all interacted in one way or another. Now, at the completion of our studies, we have well and truly made friends for life, and our time at NTU has been nothing short of a great experience. An experience we will all cherish for the rest of our lives. For many, though, I am sure this academic year in particular has been a hard and difficult year for many reasons. In my case, losing my father so close to the end of my education at NTU has proved to be the toughest moment in my life. For many other students who may have gone through other unfortunate circumstances, I'm sure he has felt this academic year was going to transpire to be a rocky year, especially with this year being weighted more than previous years. But the support our course administrator and lecturers have given us cannot be overstated enough. So, I want to thank and show appreciation to all the teaching staff for their guidance and tutorial support, and other university staff for their contribution to the success of the graduates during their time at NTU. Finally, on behalf of all the graduates, I want to thank and show appreciation to our family, friends, and fellow graduates for the support given whilst at Nottingham Trent University. Thank you.
Graduates. Now, doesn't that sound good? Graduates of 2019, let me add my congratulations to those of the Vice-Chancellor and wish you every success for the future. I'd also like to express my thanks to our honorary graduate, Dr. Richard Bullock, OBE, for being with us today, and thank you, Richard, for sharing your experience. I think what you have contributed to this university over many years is quite amazing. I think for many of us here today, as your friend and colleague, we are delighted for you and to be here with members of your family. So a huge thank you for everything that you've done. But you know, Richard Bullock is a wise man. And the Vice-Chancellor began by giving us all a very sanguine lesson about pigs and what Dr. Bullock taught him in life. Don't wrestle with pigs. Most important thing to take away today. And can I also thank Emmanuel? Emmanuel, it's very difficult to stand up here in front of all these graduates and great people and do what you just did. And you did us proud. You did your family proud. And thank you so much for giving that speech today. It was excellent. Now, my colleagues and I came into university life for moments like these, when we celebrate the success of people who are about to go out and make the world a better place. And wasn't that great news today that the Vice-Chancellor told us about our green credentials as a university? I think that's amazing news. At the start of the ceremony, you heard about some of the other accolades recently achieved by this great university. And my promise to you is that we'll continue to work hard to make sure that you'll always be as proud of us as we are of you today. We hope that as you take the next steps in your careers, you'll become our greatest ambassadors. Your comments were very well received and very timely, and thank you again for that. Remember too, though, although that you've now graduated, all of you will remain a member of our NTU global family. You're now part of a worldwide community of over 200,000 Nottingham Trent University alumni. You can continue to enjoy support from us, including advice on your next steps and career plans from the employability team. You can find out more by visiting the NTU alumni website. In time, consider also how you too could help future generations of students, as some alumni will have helped you, perhaps with lectures, placements, careers advice, funding scholarships, or by contributions to facilities and research. But that's for the future. Make today memorable. Enjoy your success. And I invite you all now to join us for celebratory refreshments in the Newton building. So guests, please remain seated for the processional music. And as the academic party and the graduates leave the hall, I now declare this graduation ceremony closed. And thank you so much for coming.